Hello, and welcome to the Where to Start Yoga series. My name is Clyde Hampton, aka Champion Yogi, and you guys know I'm here in One Raw Yoga Studio, Sanford, Florida. Feel free to come out and join me for classes on Sundays at 11 a.m. I also offer these classes on Sundays at 11 a.m. virtually. So feel free to reach out to the studio, sign up for one of those classes so you can have this class virtually, even if you're not here in Florida with me. All right, so what are we doing today? We have made it to Stag Leg Day 3 forearm stand. Yes, it is time. We have made so much progress in this, and I'm so proud of you guys. I'm glad that you've been sticking with it this far. It's time to move forward, though. Time to move on to the next level. So, what does that mean? That means it is time to have a recap. So let's walk it back for a second. We're going to talk about day one. In day one of that stag leg forearm stand, we just learned how to keep those elbows in, how to get the hands down, where the balance segment was, and how to rotate in the shoulders to get the hips to start coming over us for that forearm stand, right? To be able to start heading into that space. And then in step two, what we decided to do is we got those elbows down, we have everything in place, but now we need to find the balance to be able to get the feet over the head, to keep the feet into the air, to hold that forearm stand, right? So we're working on that. We're giving it the space. We did the time there, and now it is time for stage three. It is time to move forward. It is time to get into the space. And what does that mean? It's time to start finding that back bend, right? We got the mechanics down to get into the forearm stand, and we got the mechanics down to maybe start pulling the head through the arms. But we got to learn to control that back bend in order to keep the weight from falling all the way over to the other side. It's going to get a little scary today, maybe, but stay with me. I got you. We're going to figure this out. Okay, so before we get started with anything, what do we always need to do? We need to set our intentions. My intentions are to help you find better balance in your forearm stand, especially in your stag leg, to let you feel what it's like to have your weight shift from one side of your body to the other, and to keep control over that and not panic when it happens, and to understand how to maintain that control and how to get deeper into that back bend, right? So, with that being said, with our intentions being set, we're knowing where we're going, it's time to do what we always need to do first, which is warm up the body. Come on down to the mat. Today, since we're going to be doing some back bends, the best thing to do is to work through those cat cows. Again, the hips are going to be the big part of that rotator that gets us into those deep back bends. So getting into some cat cows is going to be a good idea. Maybe even a little puppy. If you know certain things that you like to do for your body to warm up your back bends, you should do those things always, right? You should always go to the things that feels best for your body, especially when it's time to warm up and get yourself ready to go into a space, right? So I'm going to start right here in this tabletop position. I'm going to bring the shoulders over the wrists. I'm going to bring the shoulders over the elbows and stack nice and high. I'm going to separate the knees. I'm going to separate the feet, and then we'll get into our position to be able to work on our cat cows. Remember, as we work on the cat cow, you just want to start by pulling the chin into the chest and then blowing the air out of the belly and lifting the belly button up to the spine. You want to keep pressing into those palms to really find that length. And then you'll take an inhale. You'll allow your belly to start to melt down towards the mat by pouring those hips forward. Your chin will start to pull away from your chest and start to rise up towards the ceiling as you keep the shoulders stacked and find that arch in your back. And this is why we're warming up the back right here, right? To be able to find that deep arc, to be able to really get into those back bends is what's going to allow us to have that space to really find that stag leg into the space. You want to have as many cat cows as you feel comfortable with, but at least 3 to 5 minutes of some good side body stretches, cat cows, and all kinds of things like that for your body. For your side body stretches, just looking over the shoulder could be a lot to lengthen through that side body. Try to keep the hips right in the center of the mat as you're looking over that shoulder, and that lengthen through the body. Again, maybe you like some puppy pose to lower the chest down to find some deep back bends. However you really like to warm up your back. Again, it's all on the table. You're allowed to do it in any way, shape, or form that seems best for you. So once the body is warm, once you've brought it up, let's start to move into our actual practice of today to find that space. Let's walk back through it again. Even though we just recapped, let's walk back through it again, because you should walk through these steps every single time to be able to get to this, because these are the steps to walk into it. So even when you get to a space where you're comfortable with doing it, you may find new ways to transition into it, but these steps are always going to work out for you to get you back to this space again. So we start by bringing the elbows down. We start by bringing the palms down. Once the elbows are down, they're just as wide as the shoulders. The palms are down, they're just as wide as the elbows. We know we're in our good balance place. We tuck our toes under to start to lift the hips up and start to rotate at the shoulders. Remember, as you tuck your toes in and start to lift the hips up, the shoulders might start to dive forward towards the wrist a little bit, because that becomes, the weight comes a little bit closer to the forearms, and it's a little bit easier to balance in that way. But in order to open for that stag leg headstand and to pull your head through, you have to be as high off the ground as you can. So you want your shoulders to stay over your elbows. Try to focus on that today as we go through our practice. As you tuck those toes and lift, you rotate through. Maybe you walk the feet a little closer. Again, you start to notice how my shoulders are starting to go towards my wrist. That's okay for right now. Again, as we come all the way up, we don't want that to stay. But if it gets started that way, then it's okay. You're still trying to press. You're trying to keep them stacked, but allow your body to do what it's doing to get into the space, okay? We're going to take the right leg up first in this time. And before we get ready to find that stag leg, we want to find that forearm stand. So again, we're tucking the toes, we're walking in, taking the right leg all the way up, and then a little bit of a bounce and from that left heel to help us find that space all the way up. Again, stack the shoulders over the elbows and find the space. And then right here, you're just going to bend into that knee, the right knee, let the foot fall behind you, and then bend into the left knee and let the left knee come down into your chest. And you start to find your stag right here. Try to keep the feet engaged and try to keep the elbows together. Remember, hold that space as long as you can. Start to feel what's happening. As you pull your knee down in front of you, right, to find that half of that stag, your weight is going to start to shift into that direction. So it'll get a little heavier into your elbows. Find that balance to push your weight back forward, right? Find that stack to yourself. As you bring that foot behind you, the weight will start to balance out a little bit more. So the right foot coming behind you, left knee coming in front of you, balances the weight out on both sides and allows you that space to keep the shoulders stacked. And then you just rotate of the hips. The rotation of the hips is what's going to start to give you more back bend or less back bend. You take as much as you can handle in the beginning, and as you continue to do it, it'll get a little deeper, a little deeper, a little deeper. But remember, as you lengthen out the front of the body and start to come into the back bend, it'll start to feel like it's getting more difficult to breathe, and it'll feel like you can't really take your deep inhales and your exhales like you can. You have to learn to focus on your breathing. You have to learn to control your breathing. Not being able to control your breathing completely lowers your endurance and won't give you the space to be able to stand in the forearm stand for very long. Let's take it back up one more time and give it a try. We tuck the toes, we lift, we rise all the way up. We find our stag by bending the back knee and then pulling the front one down to find that stag. And then if you want a little bit of back bend, maybe take that foot behind you, start pulling the head through the arms, and not right here. You can just stay there. Again, we don't have to go deep into it. We're not at day 4 yet. We're just at day 3. You're just starting to feel the change of the hips. You're starting to feel the back bend happen, the weight shift into your fingertips a little bit more. You're still pressing into those hands to pull the shoulders back over the elbows. Now, if you hop up to that forearm stand, you start to go into that stag and you can't get it and you can't feel it, you keep falling over. Maybe we need to go back to step 1 again. Remember when we had the elbows down, and start focusing on bringing those shoulders forward and pressing back, building the strength right here to be able to keep this control and have those shoulders where we want them to be all throughout the flow, right? So remember, feel free to go back to some of those practices. I still continue those practices in my daily, everyday life. So a lot of those things are just about strengthening, and they don't have to be the most impactful things to your body in order for you to be them to be useful for your body. So feel free to use them as much as you need to, and feel free to make sure that now that we're starting to get into those stag legs, that you're practicing both sides. You're learning how to pop off of that one foot or pop off of that second foot. And also you're learning to build the strength so that you don't have to pop anymore and that you can just go all the way out. Again, this is another space where you can use a wall if you like. If you want to bring your feet to the wall and start walking down the wall to give you a little bit deeper of a back bend, feel free to do that. But as always, the wall will help you with your flexibility and your strength, but it also will hurt you with your balance. So get away from that wall as soon as you can. One last time before we go, elbows down. Squeeze them together. Hands nice and wide. Tuck your toes. Lift up. Let's do the other side since I just practiced that and preached it so much. Popping off of that right foot all the way up. Let the left leg fall behind you. Right knee come down. Continue to breathe and hold right here for just 3, 2, and 1. Bringing the right foot down, left foot down, knees all the way down. And remember, after any inversion, if your body aren't ready for inversions yet, just continue to keep your head down. Breathe, relax, and recover. That's going to do it for step 3. That's going to be a bit challenging. Again, I told you we were going to get a little scary today. So it's starting to fall back. You might feel yourself falling over. Again, a good safe idea, have a couple pillows behind you just in case you flip over and fall all the way down. Learning how to flip over and fall all the way down is a useful skill, and it can take you to a lot of other transitions in your practice as well. So being able to lower yourself all the way down and come to that comfortable space could be very useful and not necessarily something we want to run away from, but we do want to protect ourselves from it until we understand it a lot better, okay? If I did not say something that helped you in this video and you feel like there's more, you have more questions, feel free to reach out to me on all my social media platforms. I am c.hemp.ironyogi everywhere. TikTok, Instagram, Threads, all the things, Facebook. Come and find me, reach out to me, send me messages, let's talk. Maybe we'll book a private session. Maybe we'll just have a quick chat and I can help you understand a little bit deeper about what's going on here for you in this practice. Other than that, I want you guys to have an amazing day. I want you guys to have an amazing week. I want you to keep practicing, and I want you right back here when it's time to get into step 4 because we're almost there and it's time to stag those legs. You guys have a wonderful one. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Have a good day.